For Black Altadena residents, people whose homes, memories, and futures went up in smoke when SCE's equipment sparked the flames. This wasn't some ambush or gotcha moment. This was a community saying, we need answers. We need to understand how this so-called fast pay program actually works. We need to know if justice will ever reach us. And Edison said no. Let's be crystal clear about what that means. This wasn't a scheduling conflict. This was a choice that tells Black Altadena residents that even after the fire, even after the devastation, even after admitting fault through the settlement program, they still don't matter enough for a couple of hours of Edison's time. You know what takes courage? Facing people you've harmed, sitting in a room and yes, live on talk radio with folks who lost everything because of your infrastructure failures and explaining how you intend to make it right. That takes backbone. That's what real accountability looks like. When you're the reason people lost everything, you don't get to cancel on survivors waiting for answers. You don't get to send your regrets to KBLA and call it a day. This is about respect, or rather, the complete lack of it. This is the same pattern of neglect that may have led to the fires in the first place, and now they're doubling down on disrespect in the aftermath. The residents of Altadena have endured enough hell, and now they are navigating the nightmare of settlement claims, trying to understand what they are actually entitled to receive. Southern California Edison, you owe Black Altadena more than money. You owe them your presence, your transparency, your time, and you owe KBLA Talk 1580 a public apology, I might add. And until we get it, we're going to keep emailing the top dog at SCE, Mr. Pedro Pizarro. His email is pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Pizarro spelled P-I-Z-A-R-R-O. pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Or you can call 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1. That's 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1 to speak to a live person and express yourself. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The blackness, keep on. Never say die, keep on. Blackness, keep on. Never say die, keep on.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent, checking in. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the socials at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, D-R-N-I-I-Q, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. If you haven't already, download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580, and there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never miss an episode. And speaking of not missing out on anything, next Thursday, you don't want to miss our Altadena Town Hall meeting, Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. This town hall is a part of our ongoing commitment to the people of Altadena who are still recovering from one of the worst wildfires in history. This town hall is all about informing residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched wildfire recovery compensation program and providing clarity on eligibility and the claims process. And so we have a distinguished group of locals from Altadena that are going to be a part of this conversation. Brandon Lamar, who's president of the NAACP chapter in the area, he'll be there along with Martin Gordon, Tony Bailey Rains, Zaire Calvin, Dr. Ishel Williams, Dr. William Sims, Jackie Robinson Baisley, and our very own James Farr. He is the host of our live show right here on KBLA every weekend. Conversations Live with James Farr. And so he'll be there, and I'll be co-moderating the town hall along with our very own Tabitha Smiley. And so come out to Victory Bible Church located at 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. We will be broadcasting live. So next Thursday, you won't hear our regularly scheduled A More Perfect Union show. Instead, you will hear our live broadcast from Altadena. Again, it's all about understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. And so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to making good on our commitment to stand by the people of Altadena. We know that this recovery process has been uneven, and we certainly haven't forgotten about you. We got your back, and so we're going to be there on the ground next Thursday, and so please tap in. All right, and so with that, it's now time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Kicking us off, Michelle Obama in the news, speaking out on the one thing that she did not talk about in the White House. She talked about a whole lot. She didn't talk about this. Michelle Obama was the commander-in-chief. How about that? During her near-decade run as First Lady, but with great power came great responsibility. USA Today is reporting that the former First Lady and wife of President Barack Obama, often lauded and criticized as a style icon for her head-turning look, she got candid on the complications of her fashion journey during an interview with People magazine that was published today. Mrs. Obama's reflections come as the attorney and ex-First Lady readies for the release of her memoir, The Look. Comes out on November 4th. The book will feature over 200 never-before-published images of Obama, accompanied by writing about her style evolution and providing readers a peek behind the curtain of how her most memorable looks were crafted. And we'll be looking for it. Mrs. Obama publishing again. We love to read about it. We love to hear it. What we don't like to hear about is anybody who is having to deal with their car or any sort of property being stolen. Shaq had a Land Rover custom fit to his 7-foot frame, and it vanished. And now there's a $10,000 reward. The LA Times reporting that Shaquille O'Neal purchased a black 2025 Land Rover worth a reported $180,000 from an auto broker in Riverside. He paid even more to have it customized for his 7-foot 1-inch frame. It was meant to be delivered to Baton Rouge, Louisiana earlier this month, but never arrived at its intended destination. Instead, Shaq's latest automobile purchase appears to be the high-value vehicle that is being investigated as stolen by Lumpkin County Sheriff's Office in Georgia and thought to be somewhere in Atlanta as of Monday morning. In a news release last week, the Sheriff's Office indicated that the vehicle has been originally ordered through a California-based auto brokerage on behalf of the high-profile client. The New York Post was the first to report that client was Shaquille O'Neal, and the company was Riverside's Effortless Motors. And so we hope Shaquille O'Neal gets his car back. They're offering a $10,000 reward for any information leading to the recovery of the car. And so good luck. I mean, if it's customized for somebody who is 7 feet 1 inch tall, does that mean that the folks who stole it had to be at least that height or at least close to it? I mean, is it conceivable that you could be 5 foot anything and be able to drive that car anywhere if it's customized to somebody who's 7 feet 1 inch? Now, Brother Andy says no, but it's spacious, if you know what I mean. I'm just saying, Brother Andy, if you can't see over the steering wheel, it's kind of hard to steal this car. I mean, think about all the people. Think about all the people who are watching this person get in and out of this vehicle that clearly is not customized to them. And so, we'll see. I'm curious to see who stole this car. But I have a feeling it's not a tall person. And so they probably won't be that hard to locate. But speaking of things not being so hard, it may not be so hard for the Dodgers to win this thing. I'm talking about the World Series. This is how much Dodger fans are spending to attend the World Series. A lot of folks talking about it as if it's the golden ticket in LA. The LA Times reporting that while most Dodger fans are watching all the actions of the World Series from a screen, some have made it their mission to be inside of the stadium where it happens. It's no secret that attending the World Series game ain't cheap. But just how expensive is it? The prices may surprise you. This year's tickets at Dodger Stadium originally priced between about $340 and $550 for many seats were almost impossible to nab at face value, and resale prices on sites like StubHub and Vivid Seats skyrocketed. The folks over at the Times spotted prices upwards of, get this, $200,000. However, by Game 3, tickets had dropped, allowing some fans to snag them up until the last minute for less than $700. And so, good luck out there. But the Dodgers are looking pretty good. And a lot of folks are betting on blue. What are you betting on, Brother Andy? Who you betting on? Who you betting on? The people want to know. Who is Brother Andy betting on? Are you betting on blue? People want to know. Brother Andy said Dodgers all day. Dodgers all day. And you know what? I ain't mad at that. When we come forward, we're switching gears. Looking forward to sharing my conversation with CNN's Abby Phillip. She's talking about her new book about Reverend Jesse Jackson, his run for president in 1984 and 88. It's a great book. The family participated in the book, including Reverend Jackson. Abby Phillip, she gets pretty candid with me when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it.
But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome my colleague, Abby Phillip, to the show. In case you didn't know, Abby debuted her book, A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson and the Fight for Black Political Power. It's out wherever you buy books, and you can catch Abby on Newsnight with Abby Phillip, which airs weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern on CNN and streaming on the CNN app. Welcome to the show, Abby.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You know, first things first, why a book about Jesse Jackson and why now?
Well, I know Jesse Jackson is somebody who feels like he's been around forever and there's so much out there about him. But I was shocked by how little there was about these campaigns, about the 1984 and 1988 campaigns. And in fact, there was a famous book about the 88 campaign that didn't even mention him. Because even though he came in second place in the Democratic primary, I think that there is a lot to be learned about what he did in those campaigns and how it shapes what our politics looks like today. And I thought it was important to do it while he is still with us because, you know, we have to kind of get these stories from the people who lived it and experienced it in order to really understand what happened. And that's what I was seeking to do in this book.
There are a number of modern campaigns that owe a debt to Jesse Jackson. When I think of not just Obama's campaign, but when you think about the campaign of Bernie Sanders, when you think about the campaign of Zoran Mandani, if you even think about the campaign of Kamala Harris, there are so many similarities. Talk to us about, you know, how the Harris campaign, because that's the most modern presidential campaign we can look to, that where you can draw a direct line to the Rainbow Coalition. How did the Harris campaign hit the mark? How did they miss the mark if you're measuring them by the Rainbow Coalition?
Yeah, it's a great question because, I mean, I think that if you just take a surface view of the Rainbow Coalition, you might think that it's just about sort of making sure that you have all of these different groups, Black people, white people, Asians, Hispanics, and just, you know, kind of everybody gets their own little message. And I actually think that's not how Jesse Jackson envisioned it. He envisioned it as everybody feels welcome into a coalition, but underneath the banner of our shared interests. And so I do think that there has been a fracturing of the message in Democratic politics to each of these different groups where everybody feels like, you know, we've micro-targeted things down to the nth degree. And I think when I looked back at Jackson, how he talked to voters, he was always bringing people together. He was always sort of putting an umbrella over everyone to say, we have all of these things in common. And while he put at the forefront issues that mattered to each of these individual groups, he didn't do it in a way that kind of divvied people up into different categories. And I think that it's not about Kamala Harris specifically, but I think it's about where Democratic politics has come. Some of it has to do with the fact that in modern times, we rely so heavily on polling that can tell us every little minutia about every little voter. And we forget the importance of a broader message that feels authentic to everybody, regardless of where you come from. And so, I think that's the hardest part about what Jesse Jackson envisioned. He had this really strongly populist message that was tied to a recognition of all the different types of people in this country. Doing both of those things is hard. I think Bernie Sanders did the economic piece, but he was never able to get the sort of social justice piece. A future candidate who wants to do a sort of rainbow coalition type of thing is going to have to do both at the same time. And that is really difficult to do.
Now, we've talked about the legacy of Jesse Jackson based upon sort of modern candidates on the left, but there's reason to believe that folks on the right have actually learned a few things from the Rainbow Coalition. A lot of people woke up the day after the November 2024 election a bit surprised that Donald Trump had made so many inroads into coalitions that had traditionally voted for Democrats. Talk to us about any lessons learned from folks on the right. How are the folks on the right sort of deploying the Rainbow Coalition playbook to their benefit?
Yeah, look, they are. I mean, the basic way I would put it is that the smartest thing that Donald Trump did when he ran in 2016 was realize that working class people were up for grabs. And he basically tailored a message that was fundamentally populist in nature. Now, you can argue about whether his policies are that, but his message was to those people that the system is rigged against you, that the system isn't working for you. And that's essentially, when you boil it down, that is what Jesse Jackson was saying to people, that we need a system that works better for working class and poor middle class Americans. And I think that that is going to be the battleground on which a lot of politics is fought in going forward from this point onward. Union workers are up for grabs. Black and Hispanic voters were up for grabs in 2016, 2020, and 2024. And Trump was able to, in 2024, put together a coalition of voters based on this idea that he would bring down the cost of living. I mean, you can argue about what he has done as president, but he told them he was going to bring down the cost of living, that the system wasn't working for them, that it was rigged against them. And it worked. I mean, he made inroads with Black voters. He made inroads with Hispanic voters. And so now I think what Democrats need to do and figure out is, are they able to get those people back? Are they able to recapture that message? Because that's the battlefield right now of our politics.
Your colleague, Jake Tapper, was on the show yesterday, and he's called your book a joyful, rich, must-read biography of a politician whose flaws, a constant, intense competition. And I've got to ask you, did Jesse Jackson and his family, did they participate in the book? And tell us something about the family that we may not know. We've talked about the man, but tell us something about the family that we don't know.
Yeah, they did participate in the book, and I spent a fair amount of time with Reverend Jackson in the last few years, and they were very gracious to sort of talk to me about what they'd experienced and what their lives were like. And I do think that when I think about the family, I think about the fact that this was a Black family of a prominent figure whose life was always at risk. For the 6 kids of Reverend Jesse Jackson, they had a father who they knew was being protected by Secret Service when he ran for president, was constantly facing death threats, had people with weapons in his Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters. And I do think that the psychology of these civil rights figures and their families who lived through the transition from the 60s when Dr. King was killed to the 70s to the 80s when that racism was still there but was much more kind of papered over, all the way up to present day, is just something we should take a minute with, because I think that it takes a lot to survive that. and to have lived through that. And I have a lot of respect for them in terms of the scrutiny that they've been under and the fact that, you know, they had to share their dad with the whole world for 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that shapes them. It changes them. I think there's some trauma there. There's a lot of pride and a lot of respect, but it's a very complex picture. And I think, you know, I have a lot of respect for them for really, they are very much the keepers of their father's legacy. Even he's in his 80s. He just turned 84 a few weeks ago and is ailing, but they are really keeping his history and his legacy alive.
Abby, how did writing this book, how did it change you? I remember when I was writing about Vice President Harris's trip to Africa, I didn't expect to write that book, but in covering her, I was just so moved that I felt like somebody had to do it, and I did. And that process sort of changed me a little bit. How did writing this book change you? Did it change your mind about Jesse Jackson in any way?
You know, I will say that, first of all, I identify with what you said. You know, you feel like somebody has to do it, right? And I think that part of the reason I felt like I needed to do this book was because I think this type of history benefits from perspectives like mine as a political journalist, as a Black woman, as somebody who looks back at the history, and I can see different things than other people can see. And I can talk to people about different things than other people can talk to them about. And I do think that it is challenging writing about somebody who is living, and there's a lot of sensitivity involved in it. It's challenging to write about somebody who's really complex. And, you know, there were some things that, I'll be honest, I didn't really want to write about, but were part of the story. And you have to just learn how to navigate those things. And I think that process of doing that with honesty and with a fidelity to the facts and with also sensitivity and humanity, it deepens my understanding of how I do my job every day. I just think I have to operate with a lot of empathy on even a good day. And I think even more is required when you're writing about somebody who is still with us, who has children and family and friends who care about what's written about him. But you also have a responsibility to history and to facts as well.
The audience is listening, thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. At least 11 people are dead and several others injured after a UPS cargo plane crashed during takeoff in Louisville, Kentucky on Tuesday.
And there are a handful of other people that we're still searching for that we hope weren't on site.
Video shows the plane's left engine detached just before impact. Black Democrat Jay Jones has won Virginia's Attorney General race, defeating Republican incumbent Jason Miyares. The race drew national attention after 2022 text messages surfaced of Jones joking about killing a GOP lawmaker and his family. He apologized and stayed in the race despite calls from Republicans to drop out. And Maryland's Black Attorney General Anthony Brown says a federal court has permanently blocked the Trump administration from tying immigration conditions to billions in infrastructure funding. Brown joined other states in arguing the move was unconstitutional, and the court agreed. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Do you really know what's in your tap water? We believe your water should support your health, not work against it. Upgrade your home with a LifeSource whole house system. Clean water from every tap, no salt, no hassle. Call 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com.
Warranty limitations apply.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers are back in action tonight at Crypto.com. They get their first look this season at Victor Wembanyama and a very improved San Antonio Spurs team. The Spurs are 5-1. The 7'5" Wembanyama leads the NBA in block shots and ranks second in rebounding. 7 o'clock tip-off tonight on ESPN. The USC women's basketball team won their season opener Tuesday night. The Trojans beat New Mexico State 87-48. It's going to be a very different season for the Trojans. They will not have All-American Juju Watkins for the entire season. Doctors advised the Compton native to sit out the season to give her right knee a chance to heal completely. Watkins suffered a torn ACL in the second round of the NCAA tournament in March. Without Watkins, the Trojans are not expected to be a contender for the national championship. The Trojans are ranked number 18 in the preseason top 25 poll. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Southern California Edison confirmed to show up this week for our Altadena Town Hall, but then they reneged on their promise. KBLA Talk 1580 organized a town hall specifically for Black Altadena residents, people whose homes, memories, and futures went up in smoke when SCE's equipment sparked the flames. This wasn't some ambush or gotcha moment. This was a community saying, we need answers. We need to understand how this so-called fast pay program actually works. We need to know if justice will ever reach us. And Edison said no. Let's be crystal clear about what that means. This wasn't a scheduling conflict. This was a choice that tells Black Altadena residents that even after the fire, even after the devastation, even after admitting fault through the settlement program, they still don't matter enough for a couple of hours of Edison's time. You know what takes courage? Facing people you've harmed. Sitting in a room and yes, live on talk radio with folks who lost everything because of your infrastructure failures and explaining how you intend to make it right. That takes backbone. That's what real accountability looks like. When you're the reason people lost everything, you don't get to cancel on survivors waiting for answers. You don't get to send your regrets to KBLA and call it a day. This is about respect, or rather, the complete lack of it. This is the same pattern of neglect that may have led to the fires in the first place, and now they're doubling down on disrespect in the aftermath. The residents of Altadena have endured enough hell, and now they are navigating the nightmare of settlement claims, trying to understand what they are actually entitled to receive. Southern California Edison, you owe Black Altadena more than money. You owe them your presence, your transparency, your time, and you owe KBLA Talk 1580 a public apology, I might add. And until we get it, we're going to keep emailing the top dog at SCE, Mr. Pedro Pizarro. His email is pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Pizarro spelled P-I-Z-A-R-R-O. pedro.pizarro@sce.com. Or you can call 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1. That's 626-302-2255 and then press the number 1 to speak to a live person and express yourself. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery. Embrace the company of family and friends and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
Spend an evening with philosopher and writer Kwame Anthony Appiah at Pomona College on Saturday, November 8th at 4 p.m. at the John A. Payton Distinguished Lectureship. Author of the New York Times column The Ethicist, Appiah has been identified as one of foreign policy's top 100 public intellectuals and is a National Humanities Medal recipient. This event is free and open to the public, but tickets are required. Visit pomona.edu/Payton-ticket to reserve tickets now.
Unapologetically provocative. Unapologetically bold. Unapologetically erotic. Unapologetically progressive. We've got you covered. This is LA's new home for Smart Dialogue. KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me! National News The Consequence. Informed opinion. And analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Before we get into the lightning round, Abby, I want to ask you about your critique on Black leadership, on Black movement building. To your point, there's so much in this book. There's so much in the story of Jesse Jackson that gives us a lens into the possibilities of Black leadership with his 84 and 88 campaign. It gives us some insight into Black movement building movements that are bigger than just Black people. But what's your critique of Black leadership today and Black movement building today? What is it that they could benefit from or learn from Jesse Jackson's construct of the Rainbow Push Coalition?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that. What I would just say is that Jesse Jackson, and maybe this is one of the things that people don't understand about him, but he was very focused on ensuring that Black people had adequate leverage in the political system. But he was also a uniter. He spent as much time in rural Missouri and Iowa as he did in, New York and Atlanta and large urban centers. And I think that people forget that in these times when, it's so easy to say, well, they vote that way and we won't vote this way. That what Jesse Jackson was doing when he was building a coalition was essentially saying the job of other people is to divide us, but the job of political leaders is to unite and to make everybody feel like they're part of the same political system, that they have shared interests, that they have more in common than they have that is different. And I think that does get forgotten because I think it's easy to cast blame on other people for a political outcome that you don't like. And I've read the history. I've done the research. He did not run that way. Those 2 campaigns were not run that way. Yeah. He went to all these places where they didn't like him, that were inhospitable to Black people, and he asked for their vote. And I think candidates and movements need to do the same thing.
Abby, we're trying out something new. We want to understand what keeps our storytellers rooted in challenging times. And so consider this our rapid fire questions. Tell us what keeps you rooted when things get tough.
My family, my daughter, my husband, and unplugging.
What setback became your biggest setup?
Early in my career, I considered leaving journalism because I thought that it wasn't going very well, and I had just an experience at work where I felt like I wasn't being supported, and I left that organization. I went and I did something else, and that turned out to be the best decision I ever made. And I think I wouldn't have done it if things felt like they were going well, and I needed that push to get me out of my comfort zone.
How old were you when Jesse Jackson first hit your radar?
Oh, first hit my radar. Oh, I mean, that must have been like sometime in the 90s. But I was born 3 weeks after the 88 campaign ended. So when he was running, I wasn't around. But I mean, I've known about Jesse Jackson basically my whole life since I was aware enough to listen to the news. So
What do you think Gen Z knows the least about him?
I think Gen Z doesn't know that he ran for president. Many of them have no idea that this even happened and that he came very close to being the nominee, 20 years before Barack Obama was around.
And what chapter stretched you the most, and which one flowed the easiest?
The chapter where I talk about Dr. King's assassination and what happened in the aftermath of that, I think was one of the most difficult and sensitive to write about. So yes, that was a tough chapter. But I think that toward the end, when I kind of wrote about where his legacy stands today and even his relationship with Obama, some of that I covered myself. And I think those parts, flowed easier because I think that's really the heart of the book is kind of why he mattered and the ways that he influenced our politics. So I'm forgetting the chapter numbers, but those are two sections of the book.
And finally, Abby, what do you want your daughter to remember most about Jesse Jackson and about you through this work, a marvelous work that the streets are buzzing about?
Well, I want my daughter to remember Jesse Jackson and, frankly, a lot of these figures as men, people who were ordinary people who did extraordinary things, not just because they had certain gifts, but also because they got up and they went into the arena and they did things. And you don't have to be perfect. The job does not have a perfection requirement. It has a requirement that you care and that you try. And so I think that is what is important about this story. And I hope that she knows about me that that this is what it looks like to take on a project and finish it, to commit yourself to something and to see it through, and to also commit yourself to something that is not just about you, but is about our broader society and what we all need to know and care about. And I think that the world is not about just us. It's also about how we contribute to this world in each of us in our unique ways.
An incredible book. This book takes a look at Jesse Jackson's presidential campaign of the 1980s and how they changed and impacted politics today. You can draw a direct line from Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Coalition to present day. It's a story that we have been waiting for. You didn't even know you were waiting for the story. That's how good it is.
That's right.
Abby's debut book, A Dream Deferred, Jesse Jackson and the Fight for Black Political Power, is out now wherever you buy books. And you can catch Abby on Newsnight with Abby Phillips, which airs weeknights at 10 p.m. Eastern on CNN and streaming on CNN app. Thank you so much, Abby.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nii-Quartelai. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
JP Morgan Chase offers tips for the local business owners in 2025. Small business landscape is ever changing, and the Los Angeles market is no exception. A startup or legacy business, revisiting your mission statement and recalibrating offerings can renew opportunities for growth and innovations. Programs like Chase for Business Coaching for Impact gives entrepreneurs access to expert guidance, helping you streamline operations, strategize your growth, and navigate complex challenges. Businesses with a clear sense of purpose can navigate any challenge effectively, but also build stronger customer loyalty. Visit chase.com/coaching for impact for more information. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Daylight savings time right around the corner. But do you know when to fall back? You know when to fall back this year? Since fall is now in full swing. Well, the folks over at ABC News remind us that since fall is in full swing, that means that daylight savings time will soon draw to a close. And this year, the time change occurs on Sunday, November 2nd. And so mark your alerts, your reminders on your phone. Sunday, November 2nd, that's when the time changes. Daylight savings time, it was first established, of course, in the United States by Congress after the Calder Act, or the Standard Time Act of 1918, was passed more than 100 years ago, and was more recently amended with the Energy Policy Act of 2005. In the U.S., daylight savings time begins on the second Sunday in March at 2 a.m. That's when the clock springs forward 1 hour, and ends the first Sunday in November at 2 a.m. when the clocks fall back. And so don't forget to set your clocks. And while we're talking about clocks and turning back the hands of time, every year I recognize October 28th as my Oprah Appreciation Day. My Oprah Appreciation Day. Now you might be wondering, well, what do you mean by that? Your Oprah Appreciation Day. Well, for family and friends who've known me for a very long time, they know that many years ago, when I was just a young lad, 13 years old, I happened to be a guest on the Oprah Show. And this is when Oprah had launched the Angel Network campaign, which was basically a public charity to raise money to help send needy students to college. And so a lot of these students were selected by the Boys and Girls Club of America. And I, ordinary person, in the San Francisco Bay Area at the age of 13, really thought, okay, well, I can do something. And so I organized, along with my classmates, a year-long campaign to collect small change, spare change, to contribute to what we believe was the world's largest piggy bank to help send needy students to college. And so on the show, every day when I say do what you can from where you are with what you have, I'm not just saying that. I live it. I have lived it. And there are a lot of extraordinary people in our families, in our organizations, in our communities that do exactly that. And so October 28th of every year, I always like to just sort of share my thanks for this confirmation that this life that I'm living was sort of where it started. It started when I was a kid. And having Oprah give you the nod, give you that stamp of approval at 13 to keep going strong is an added incentive to continue to do good. And so what you're looking at for the people who are streaming, that's 13-year-old Nii-Quartelai, and I think that's probably about 50-year-old Oprah there sort of celebrating our contribution to Oprah's Angel Network. And so this is my Oprah Appreciation Day, and there you have it there. Now, it's time for the quiet part out loud. It's time. And I'm wondering how many of y'all sort of feel about this call for yet another boycott. Another boycott. Folks are calling for a boycott, and this boycott is something pretty serious. Black Enterprise saying that folks are determined to shut it down. A coordinated economic blackout set for November 25th through December 2nd. Now, let me explain. Blackout the system. They've called for a nationwide boycott, urging participants to refrain from working or spending money from November 25th to December 2nd as a protest against a damaged government and economic system. In recent days, Blackout the System, which is a movement advocating unity across race, culture, and class. They have been actively promoting the upcoming second wave economic blackout scheduled around the Thanksgiving holiday and extending through Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This initiative is aiming to become the most significant economic blackout protest in U.S. history, demonstrating that real power belongs to the people, not corrupt governments, not billionaires, or broken systems. An Instagram video says, quotes, "Day one, no work, no shopping. We vanished from the system. We are the economy. Without us, nothing moves. Nothing moves. And we pulled our money and they can't buy our silence. We don't grind for them today. We starve the machines." That's their thought. And so far, at this hour, Blackout the System, at least on Instagram, looks like they have nearly 17,000 likes to their Instagram post. During the blackout, participants are urged to avoid working, avoid shopping, avoid spending money throughout the week-long protest. The boycott coincides with the federal government shutdown, which will suspend the SNAP program starting November 1st, marking the second longest shutdown in U.S. history after the record set during Donald Trump's first term. So for those who can't step away from work for the whole week, Blackout the System has outlined several working strike options. Participants can choose to work to rule, performing only the essential duties of their job. They can go slow, easing their pace and avoiding extra effort, or shirk by showing up but refraining from active participation. In all cases, participants are encouraged to avoid shopping or spending money. Shopping or spending money, that's what they're urged to do. The Blackout the System boycott, that announcement, it comes alongside the People's Union USA, a consumer activist movement that called for an October boycott of 6 major brands, including Amazon, Walmart, Starbucks, Disney, Target, and Ben & Jerry's. The boycott continues a strategy that the group has pursued since February, aiming at promoting corporate accountability, strengthening diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and curbing corporate influence over U.S. economic policy. And so these folks mean business. And this is the thing about movement work. You got to get in where you fit in. And, you know, the movement builders understand everybody can't necessarily do the same exact thing. Of course, they want a critical mass of people to do the same thing, you know, but they're looking for people to do something. And we certainly know that the Target boycott, which continues, the Target boycott has been rather effective. It's been effective at, number one, setting an example for other corporations that movement leaders believe are bad actors, or they're making short-sighted decisions. But remember, you know, Target has lost a lot of money from this boycott. In fact, the Target CEO had to step down. Now, he remains on the board last time I checked, but he stepped down as CEO. Now the COO is the new CEO, and so we're going to see what he's going to do, right? But, Target has been seriously damaged by this ongoing boycott. We saw just a few weeks ago when Jimmy Kimmel was pulled off the air temporarily, Disney lost billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And so for folks that say, boycotts are not very effective, no, they are. To the extent that people really lean in and stick to them. And earlier in the first hour, we were, talking about the owner of the Washington Post and Amazon founder, Jeff Bezos, who is basically helping to underwrite the cost of Trump's East Wing ballroom. Well, you can draw a direct line between the contributions that Jeff Bezos is able to make to that ballroom and those of us that are customers of Amazon. And we all get to decide how much of a chokehold are we willing to be in, if at all, when it comes to some of our favorite companies when they are behaving badly, when they are making decisions that are at odds with our values, that are at odds with our best interests, that are at odds with our job security. We get to decide that. I think it was Alice Walker who said that the quickest way that people give away their power is by first believing that they have none. So if anything, it seems to me that this group Black Out the System, at a minimum, is reminding us about the power that we do have. The question is, how will you choose to use it? We're going to have to leave it there. My thanks to the Village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Brother Andy, to our show producers, Faraji Muhammad, Art Sears and Journey Burris, and of course, each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners. We love you. We curate the show every day with you in mind. Also, my thanks to my phenomenal guests, including this hour, Abby Phillips on CNN. Be sure to pick up her new book on the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And in the first hour, Dr. Jonathan Collins and Jamar Reed. Remember, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A new UMBC poll shows Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore leading his re-election race with 49% support compared to 29% for a Republican challenger. 22% are undecided or favor another candidate. The poll also finds voters trust